We are still remembering the late former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, and in studio we do have Charles Muga. He's in the studio. We're still having this conversation. And we also do have Professor Herman Manyora. He's a political analyst. But also joining us today for the second time, it is Charles Nyachae. He is a constitutional lawyer. Gentlemen, welcome to Radio Generation once again. For Professor, you've been here several times, so huku ni kama nyumbani.
Hapa ni nyumbani.
Hapa ni nyumbani.
City yuko.
Yes. Yes. And Muhesh, I want to make this your home as well. So please feel free anytime.
I'm happy and I'm honored.
Yes.
Asante sana.
Yes. Let's talk about there's this question I've been asking every single person that I've hosted since we broke the news yesterday.
Yes.
Where were you when you heard of the news of the passing of the late Prime Minister?
I was in my house. A friend of mine called me and said, "What is this that I'm seeing on social media?" Because there were just cryptic messages. Nobody was saying anything. And my friend said, "Is it true?" So I said, "Is what true?" Then the way people whisper, even if there is no need, because they don't want to sound like rumor mongers. They said, the indication is that Mzee ametuaga. You see, there were these other rumors that he was unwell. We didn't know the correct position and so on and so forth. So I said, I really don't know, but I kind of took it like it's just a continuation of the rumor.
Yes.
And I said, wait a minute. There's a colleague of mine who sits with me on the council of the Kenya School of Government.
Yes.
I know he's a close friend of Mzee. So I said, let me talk to him. So I called him and said, my brother, is what I'm hearing true? And he was sounding completely broken, and he just said, yes, it is. Let's talk later. So I was in my house.
Okay. All right. Professor, where were you and how did you find out?
Well, I was still in the house. Somehow I just got to know it.
Somehow you just knew.
I knew it, and
Did you?
for me, I think people think I'm very close to Raila, so everybody wanted to confirm from me, and it was so.
Or you were the source.
It's really difficult for me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And
reminded me of the 2022 laws. I became a counselor, a psychologist, I became a doctor, I became a telephone operator. I had to shoulder the pain that Kenyans had in that time when it was becoming clear that Raila was losing and Ruto was winning. This reminded me of the same thing.
Yeah.
But there it is.
Here we are. All right. And much more, you were just telling us before we went on air the fact that this was similar to when we lost the first president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And because I was actually telling CT, and I've been saying this since yesterday, I thought Raila was immortal. You know,
I don't blame you for thinking that, because when I think back to 1978, I was actually at home in Kenya on holiday, because from university in the UK, and the day it happened, everybody who around, including even senior people, senior in terms of age and so on.
Yeah.
It's like everybody reacted that how can Jomo die? So since yesterday, a lot of people have been and probably still are in denial. But it's a big hit.
Is it a figment of my imagination? On that day, did you see an overcast cloud which wasn't there before it was announced?
Very probably.
All days are cloudy.
Yes.
Okay. So going forward, how is his death going to affect our politics? Because he literally was, for the last couple of years, maybe two decades or so, he's been very, very vocal about every single political aspect in this country, and now he's not going to be there. How is that going to affect our politics going forward? Yes, you, Mheshimiwa.
A good question.
Yes.
Like I was saying, I don't know whether it was before we went on air. I was saying one of the things Professor Manyora says consistently, and that I agree with him, is that there's Raila the man, but beyond that there's Raila the spirit.
Okay.
And Raila the spirit is really what his imprint in Kenyan politics is about. I think the answer to your question will largely depend on another question. Is there an individual or a group of individuals on the Kenyan political terrain who can marshal that spirit?
Okay.
In a particular direction? If the answer is no, then it's very difficult to predict what is going to.
Okay.
That's my view. Yeah.
Professor Herman Manyora.
Yes.
Same question. How is this going to shape our politics? How is it going to affect, ODM? How is it going to affect the broad-based government? What are we to see going forward as far as those two aspects are concerned?
I think I would agree with Charles that it's not a simple thing. But first, let's send our condolences to the nation, to the family, to Raila's comrades in struggle, to the living and the dead, and to all those who believed in a new Kenya through Raila Odinga. Secondly, I will want to say one thing before I address this issue.
Yes.
I think these 3 days we have given for mourning Raila Odinga is too short.
They're insufficient.
The soul of the nation is disturbed, and it cannot be appeased in 3 days. And since Raila is a spirit, I was thinking we could have engaged the spirit of Raila and asked for forgiveness, so that we violate this wish, if indeed it is true. Sometimes these things are never true. Sometimes somebody could conjure the idea that prolonging Raila's mourning could cause chaos in the country. Let's lie that it is said three, but I'm not saying there's a lie. Assuming there is. So we negotiate with the spirit of Raila Odinga.
Yes.
We extend the mourning. Because even from a logistical point of view,
yes,
I can imagine how Parliament will be today.
But Professor, just because he will be buried on Sunday,
yes,
it doesn't mean that we cannot continue with other activities to respect.
We are Africans, and we want to see the body of somebody.
Yes.
We want the physical presence. We want to bring closure to an issue. Why do people search for bodies in oceans and forests like Cameroon? Why do they do that? Why can't they just say, okay,
Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda, let's pray, and it helps to bring closure to an issue as big as that. So you cannot mourn Raila in 3 days. No,
yeah,
it's not. Anyway,
yes.
To answer your question, you cannot tell with any measure of certainty what the politics will look like. We will be lying to ourselves. But look here, the one thing is certain. A tree this big, when it falls, you expect a lot of things. Snakes zitatoroka hapo ndani because of the sound. Yeah?
Yeah.
Birds will be confused. You know, smaller trees will be broken. Raila is larger than life, larger than size. His passing on cannot just lead to a situation of business as usual. It's not possible.
Yeah.
A lot of things will happen. A lot of things will give way.
Do you know some
in fact, I maybe because I seem to value Raila perhaps more than I should. I'm tempted to imagine this can be a turning point in Kenya's history. I'm writing an article, and I'm drawing parallel with Julius Caesar. That the death of Julius Caesar marked a turning point in Roman history.
Yes.
It's a major turning point from a republic that had been painstakingly put in together to what then became an empire and so on and so forth. Long drawn wars and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Raila's death cannot just pass like that. No. Not a man who has controlled Kenyan politics for 40 years. In the past 20 years or so, no individual in this country, not Charles Nyachae, not Manyora, not Uhuru Kenyatta, not Kibaki, no individual has been more powerful than Raila Odinga. Even without sitting in State House, he has been more powerful than any president in this country.
Right.
Those individuals have had authority as heads of state and heads of government, but they have not had the power Raila has had. A man like that cannot just pass and you say things will be the same.
Yeah.
But what it will be like, we can only speculate.
Mr. Nyachae, is it so difficult to imagine that Raila himself could have actually said, look, I just want this to be done in 72 hours. For whatever reasons, he chose that.
For me, I want to believe that, as has been said, that was his wish.
Yes.
And I think it is not an unreasonable wish.
Request, yeah.
And particularly if he had thought about what prolonging it. There are too many unpredictable scenarios, and therefore, with the obvious logistical challenges, I personally think I disagree with the professor.
Yeah.
I don't think Africans we may be, but I don't think interring Jacom means we stop celebrating him and so on. I think this is a man who will be remembered and celebrated many years to come. One of the reasons being what happens in response to the question that you asked.
Yes.
Which direction does the Kenyan leadership and politics take? And I'm sure at every corner, as it takes whatever direction it takes, we will be remembering. This is a man we will be remembering. Raila. This is a man. City will agree with me. It has been virtually impossible for any Kenyans who are any 2 or 3 Kenyans who are alive or concerned about the country and what's going on to sit down for a cup of coffee for an hour and not mention Raila Odinga. So, Prof.
Yes.
Attack is equal in 3 days.
Yeah.
The spirit will continue. So for me, if logistically it can be done,
yes,
we can bury him.
I mean, they have already made plans, and we know his body will be arriving at around 9:30, and there are plans underway to make sure that indeed everything follows a certain program. Earlier on, the same way Professor Manyora wants to draw parallel to the life of Julius Caesar. City drew some parallel in the previous hour to the lives of Jesus and the life of Muhammad, the prophet of Islam.
Peace be upon him.
Yes. And one thing that came out of that conversation is that we haven't forgotten those people centuries later. For Jesus, it's been 2 millennia, and we are still influenced going forward. Do you feel like our politics will be defined in a similar manner? Drawing contrast to, ODM achieved this, Raila achieved this, and every other president after him is going to be talking about what that prime minister did, what that politician did. Perhaps I need to either do the same or outdo him.
I hold the view that Raila Odinga is the most consequential politician in Kenya's history. More consequential than Jomo, who was the first post-independent leader. Politically, more consequential than his father Jaramogi, in my view. So it's going to. I mean, that spirit is going to be hovering around for a long time to come. Even if, of course, there will be, for political reasons, there may be people or sections of the political class who want to suppress the spirit, depending on in which direction it is leading the country, and there'll be others who want to ride on the spirit. But whichever way it is, that spirit, I think, is going to be with us for a long time.
Yes.
I think history is what will tell us, or historians is who will tell us what the significance of this moment is. So Professor may well be right that the parallel he has drawn with Julius Caesar. But let me say this: I think it's a moment for Kenyans to reflect. And I was reflecting as I was driving here from home about Raila Odinga and how Kenyans have responded to him in the period that he has been at the forefront of Kenyan politics.
Yes.
You have a situation where Kenyans set the bar very high for Raila. And yet, in political terms, reciprocity, we do not see. There's no obvious indication that Kenyans appreciated the value and changes that this man brought to this country. And to a certain extent, I don't blame them, because if you try to explain to the younger generation what public life was, say in the 80s, they will not relate to it.
Okay.
That we couldn't be having this conversation that we are having here.
Really?
Allah.
Yeah.
A discussion like this, as freely as we are discussing, it couldn't happen. And Raila, and I'm not saying he did this alone.
Yes.
But he's definitely very high up there in terms of those who have brought the positive changes that have come to this country. And yet we tend, I listen to people, they criticize him, say he betrayed us, he did this. And I think, I think that is a lopsided analysis of who the man was and what he has done for this country.
Professor, let's talk about that betrayal for a minute.
Yes.
Of course, certain sections of the country said Raila betrayed them, especially when he joined Kenya Kwanza government, formed the broad-based government. And now that he has passed on, does the views we held or Kenyans held at that particular time, does it make it any less factual after his death?
You know, we are Africans. And when we are mourning a departed human being, an African like us, we do not try to bring out what Muga did, or you remember last time he was found in somebody's house. We don't bring that. We just behave like good Africans. We mourn the person. We have a decent funeral for him, and we send him to his Mecca. And many of the religions of the world also, I think, have that kind of philosophy, that at the end of the day, sisi wa Islam tunasema unaenda mbele ya haki. It's now you and your Mecca. It's not for us to judge a man. We can help a man when he's alive, to help change him. But once a man dies, we leave it to his Mecca. Let him have a conversation with his Mecca and answer the charges brought against him. Having said that, I also want to point out that it is true people have talked about betrayal. It is true that if you look at it, it does look like betrayal. But until you come to the end of a book, sometimes you may be making the observations may be right, but the conclusions may be wrong. So this book, we have only had a few chapters of the book, and Raila has died before we get to the end of the book.
Is that so? I would think that his death actually marks the end of that.
No.
book.
I'm saying in terms of the narrative about betrayal.
Okay. All right.
His broad-based arrangement with Ruto. Do we know how it was going to end? Who can speak with certainty that Raila was going to stick with Ruto until 2027 and support him for the election? Who can speak with certainty? He went with Kanu. I don't think it ended that well. He was with Uhuru. We saw how it went. Who can say with certainty that Uhuru actually supported Raila? You know, until the book comes to an end, sometimes we may draw early conclusions.
Yes.
But based on the observations, people are saying if he hadn't supported Ruto,
Yes.
then Ruto would have been sent home. But now for those ones, now Raila is not there. Send Ruto home. Let's see.
You know, the discussion in the earlier hour, when I mentioned Jesus and Muhammad,
Yeah.
I also mentioned less celestial beings like Dedan Kimathi.
Yes, you did.
In this studio and many studios, the discussions that revolve around the former president, Daniel Arap Moi, the late former, and Kibaki, many things are attributed to them, many things are said. Now, those people are dead. We still speak about them.
Oh, yes, we do.
The things they did still influence us. And I tend to agree with Charles. You see, Raila and the politics he represented was consequential beyond the boundaries that anybody can actually imagine, because it actually goes beyond what people see or envision as the politics they understand or believe in or want to practice. For this reason, why is it that every time there was a handshake, there was a huge hue and cry? Ah! Why? Because the people who felt, why are you engaged in this handshake? There are other things you could do. At every phase, there were naysayers. And then when you look back, you realize, it's a good thing we did this. Because in the absence of this, who knows what might have happened?
Yeah.
The latest one being this issue of the Gen Zs. But when we discuss our politics, often the problem we don't discuss it honestly. It isn't as though the country was yelling. There are always pockets of individuals within the country who have a certain perspective when it comes to politics.
Yes.
And they have a certain perspective when it comes to certain individuals. You heard me say in the previous hour that there are people for whom this government cannot do anything right. It does not matter what the government does. They are wrong. Now, there are people like that who also believe that there's nothing Raila could do right. That is why when someone goes and studies mechanical engineering, without understanding the aspect of mechanical engineering he specialized in, production, what is involved in it, the plant mechanics, metallurgy, and within that, there is a huge welding component. They forget everything else that has to do with the master's degree and they focus on the welding.
Yes.
And then it is said that he wasn't actually at the university, and yet he was at the university and he was teaching at the university. You only need to check. It's not something difficult to confirm. Now, revisionism is something that people use as a political tool. The facts are here before you, but you take it upon yourself to give it a twist that suits your purpose. It's something that people do. Okay? Now, unfortunately, it makes the conversation about our politics false.
Yeah.
Here we are at a point when people are saying, oh, this is the end of an era. Actually, it isn't. My reference to those celestial creatures earlier on was to state that actually it is not the end of an era, contrary to what people think. It is the beginning of an era. It is a brave new world, so to speak, because this is a world without this person alive and well and kicking. It is new. And how are we going to navigate these waters? Because the entire navigation of it, those who liked him, those who didn't like him, those who for whatever reason thought of him in whatever way, the person himself is not there, but his spirit lives on. How exactly are we going to navigate these waters? This is new, not an end. Even the conversation will be new. The changes that Professor Manyora spoke of,
Yes.
just the magnitude of it, it will be new. It is absolutely and completely new. And in that discussion, there'll be very many orphans. People who built a career chanting and chiming against Raila, they now have to revisit their strategies.
Yeah.
Those who supported him and relied on him, they have to revisit it. Those who are thinking of 2027 and what they hoped he would help support, they have to. Everything is being rethought at this particular moment in time. So how can it be an end when it's a clear beginning?
You know, Charles. Now that Jacom's mortality has come to pass and he has rested, I think all of us, even those who are his greatest opponents, will have to change the discussion, because he's no longer a threat to them. Now they must look at, the past.
They must look for new threats.
Let them look for new threats. But there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to be more honest in our
conversation.
In our conversation.
Yes.
Precisely because the man is no longer a threat. Again, when I was driving here, I remembered in Shakespeare's play, King Lear. There's a point at which the king says, "I am a man more sinned against than sinning." Raila, people, even those his greatest critics, even like during elections and so on, the bulk of them, you could not sit down and have a rational discussion as to what was the issue they had with him. No, it was just, they chose to set aside whatever he has done or contributed to this country, and focused on more parochial concerns. But now they don't have to do that, because, as I say, he's not a threat. So as Kenyans, we can look back and be more honest and be more objective as to, and I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that Raila was a perfect human being or a perfect politician, but I am saying that we now, as Kenyans, have the opportunity to evaluate what he has done for this country.
Yes.
More objectively, and I agree with Charles that many years to come, people will still be looking back and saying this is the contribution that this particular person did for this country while he was on the stage.
Yeah. Professor, what is that gift that you think Raila left politically to the people of Kenya?
It really is not easy to answer that question. Not because there isn't anything he left. On the contrary, there's almost just about everything.
Okay.
And it will be, humility will not allow me to say that really point that I think we are enjoying today, that you can't attribute to Raila Odinga. I mean, like he said, not necessarily alone, but really as a major player, and in some instances, single-handedly. Even Ruto is in State House, courtesy of Raila. If Raila hadn't fought to change Kenya be what it is, Ruto wouldn't be president. The people who enjoy the things they're enjoying, they wouldn't be enjoying them. I mean, is it just the Constitution you want to talk about? Do you want to talk of the detention laws that so many people suffer?
Yeah.
To which Muga can relate very well. City.
City, were you detained?
Is it because he knew he was around?
You did not need to be detained to understand that people were being detained.
There must have been somebody close to you who went through the torture. It was like cancer. It is like cancer. It is like cancer today.
Yes.
It is difficult for you to find a person or a family that hasn't had an experience with cancer. Either directly within the family or the extended family or the neighborhood. So it was something that was so present You felt it. The fear we lived under was so strong. All of us had to go through that experience, and therefore it is so many of these things that Raila helped change and bring about the positive ones that makes it very difficult to answer that question.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you are reading about great philosophers, about discoveries, about ancient Greek, great fellows from Greece, the Aristotles, the Platos, it puzzled me when I was young. How would one man have done all that? The things they did. Sometimes people do so much that it's difficult to attribute that to a human being. That is not humanly possible. Yeah. Of course, when it comes to the Greeks, we later found a lot of it was plagiarism from Egypt. But Raila has done so much. When the history of this country is properly written, if people are forgetting what happened a few years ago, after 100 years, the debate will be that this is not true. Unless you accept he's a legend.
One person could not
have done what Raila did. It's not possible. Now we can see because we are experiencing.
Yeah.
But in another 100 years, nobody will believe. They will see it as exaggeration. Because this is one man who has carried this country on his shoulders.
You see, that's where revisionism comes in. Yeah. Because when you look at the history of our independence, Jomo Kenyatta is placed right at the center of the fight for freedom, and you have to ask, this freedom he fought for, where did he fight for it, and when did he fight for it, and what role did he actually play? Because there's Jomo Kenyatta in the UK, Jomo Kenyatta back in Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta at Kapenguria. At what point did he actually do this fighting that we are speaking of?
It's difficult.
But you see, we don't discuss it, do we? All right? Now, what we also don't discuss is the people who genuinely were in the bushes fighting for their land and fighting. Okay? These stories we keep hearing of reparations and so forth, what actually became of them? And how is it that the people who represented the colonialists who were then considered to be the oppressors, how is it that they are the ones who actually ended up being at the helm of government in very many places? There are those who argue it's because they were educated. Yes, they were educated. But let's ask this question.
Yes.
Where was the balance in our history? You see, if we do not look at our history honestly, then even our movement forward cannot be honest. Because then you talk of what it is that Kenya was purposed to be. Now, once you twist it, then the roles that individuals have played even after independence, when the story is told, it never represents the truth. It represents what somebody has revised and what they have considered to be the truth. And in the reporting, we accept that revision. And by revision, I mean you accept that false narrative. Now, when it comes to Raila Odinga, there are very many things that have been said about him. In the previous hour, we were talking with these young gentlemen, and we were discussing that same issue. Now, I understand that very many young people will talk about what they have read. They didn't live it, so they don't know. So, when an opportunity presents itself, you must gently open the eyes to the facts and say, consider this, and please consider this, and consider this, because these are truths, not just realities, they're truths. But now we are at a time when we have a completely different dispensation. And the things that we are facing are exactly the same things we're facing at independence. And the question has to be asked, do we have the sort of leadership that can actually navigate this country through these problems that we have? Because when we've discussed everything else, that's what we come down to. Do we have the leadership that can do this? In my opinion, yes. In fact, I've been of the view that if there was one person who was at a point where they could have brought very many positive changes, it's this particular president. That was my belief.
Yeah.
Now, the honest conversation. Can he not? And if he can't, what needs to be done so that he can? And if he can't, who do you think can? Now, then it boils down again to how we elect our leaders and the discussions we have when it comes to elections. People have proven track record of the things they can actually do, as in, not say, do. Many times those are the people who are not voted for. So, do we really want to move forward as a nation? In my opinion, another honest conversation. Are we actually willing to take the steps and to do the heavy lifting that is required in moving forward? Or are we happy with our situation and we keep thinking and claiming that we don't like it because we actually like complaining? We enjoy situations that give us an opportunity to complain. What Raila Odinga represented throughout his political career was change. Consistent change.
Yeah.
It cost him, but it was consistent. It was change.
There's a statement, I believe it was by former President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday, and he was thanking the family of Raila Odinga for sharing Raila with the rest of the world, with Kenya. But I don't feel like Kenyans have really grasped that statement or understood it in this way, because to be honest, Raila did actually, we shared Raila with his family, and I feel like we had the larger share as Kenyans. I don't know what do you think?
That to acknowledge that sharing, we first need to acknowledge what exactly has been Jacom's contribution to this country. Then when you look at the magnitude of it,
yes,
you look at what it cost him personally. You know, the years in detention, the all the hide and seek in the earlier years, even when multipartyism was re-established, when we acknowledge what he has done for this country,
yes,
then you look at it that in the process of him doing that, clearly something must have suffered, and one of the things that majorly must have suffered would be the rest of his life, the life that was not the politics and leadership of Kenya,
right?
And so I think I share that view that we as a country owe that great debt of gratitude
yes,
to his family,
right?
I think most of these things, and I think Professor said this earlier, will unfold and will be better
understood
with the passage of time, and to a large extent, the understanding will also depend on the initial question you asked.
Yes.
What next? What is going to play out in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, by the time we get to the next election? That is when, Prof, I think, as things unfold, people will be looking back and inevitably saying, if Jacom, or I normally call him Owadgi Akinyi, if he was around in the political terrain, how would this have played out? Kenyans inevitably will be asking themselves that question.
And I'll probably ask Professor Manyora, how 2027 politics will play out now that Jacom has passed on. But as we get to that question, I'm just looking at a map of flight KQA 203, which left Mumbai a couple of hours ago. It's currently over the Kenyan airspace, just past over Wajir, heading towards Nairobi. So like they said, I think that flight is actually on schedule. Might actually land at JKIA in the next couple of minutes. They said it will be arriving around 9:25, thereabout. So yes, they are actually on schedule. Again, that flight is in the Kenyan airspace, currently heading towards Nairobi. Something else I've seen as far as the news is concerned, and you can check this on rgk.co.ke. The military has arrived at JKIA in readiness for the arrival of that flight so that they can ensure the safe passage of the individuals traveling together with the cortege to get to the Lee funeral home. Then after that, they shall be getting to the parliament buildings where the body shall lie in state. So more updates coming through as far as that conversation is concerned. Professor, 2027, what does this mean now? And you said something actually as we began the conversation. You asked, we won't know what would have happened had Raila still been alive. Was he going to support President Ruto even beyond 2027, support his re-election? Or was he going to go it alone? Was he going to support someone different? Would it have been Martha Karua, Kalonzo? We don't know. But we can speculate. What do you think now going forward we are going to see as far as 2027 succession politics are concerned?
It's very difficult, like I said before, because really we can just talk and speculate and think we know when maybe we don't know. Sometimes we are quick to read situations and make conclusions. What most people seem to think is that without Raila, Ruto is gone. Those who believe so, and there are many, really, quite many.
Yes.
For them, 2027 is already decided that Ruto is not a contestor in this election. That he's gone without Raila Odinga. That's what many people think. But that is surface. You see, Ruto is a shrewd politician. I'm not saying he could have known that Raila could disappear, but Ruto would be very naive to have worked with the assumption that he will be with Raila
till 2027.
Till 2027 and beyond. And I'm not talking about death. I'm just talking about politics.
Partnership, yeah.
Yeah. He could be very naive to think so. See, in politics, you can't work like that. There's always a plan B. So I'm thinking Ruto will now fall to his plan B. If Raila had deserted him, how could he have played this game? And Ruto, being who he is, may not be what people think he is. He must be having something up his sleeve. He must know something he can do. He must be working on other strategies. One of the things I think Ruto could do is to use this period to pacify some people. Push them into saying, okay, this journey was started by a man you all love, Raila Odinga. ODM people is your party leader. All of you love Raila Odinga. Why can't we finish the journey he had started? That can work. We are human beings, and people want to behave as if we are not human beings. Somebody approaching you from that direction can easily win you over. And I will not be surprised if Ruto now comes up with what he will call a really government of national unity in honor of Raila Odinga. And people will find it very difficult. For example, if ODM is going to meet, because they must meet and talk about the way forward without Raila Odinga, perhaps look for an acting or so party leader, perhaps give it to James Orengo or somebody like that. And now they say, what do we deal with? How do we deal with the issue of the broad-based government? And Ruto is also coming in between. I will not be surprised if you find these people saying, okay, for the time being, in honor of Raila Odinga, let's work with William Ruto to implement this thing. 2027, ODM will produce a presidential candidate. And you find some of these guys brought into government. And this noise, you'll find it ending. And you'll find somebody like Gachagua isolated. It's quite possible. You can find even Kalonzo Musyoka now easily brought into government to fill the void left by Raila Odinga. And Ruto is a shrewd politician. So I'm just thinking aloud and saying, these are some of the possibilities. So if people really want to make sure that Ruto doesn't gain, in quotes, out of this situation, they must see the things the way I'm seeing them, or at least partially or some of them, and say, okay, this is the approach Ruto may have. to bring Kalonzo on board using this sad whatever event.
Yes.
Talk to firebrands like in Aurengo and Sifuna. Tell them, look here, in honor of Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And in order to bring the country together towards 2027. After that, anybody can do what they want. But surely by the time you wine and dine with him, you are gone. You are finished.
Yes.
There's nothing. So that's part of what I see. But like I said earlier, a majority of people think without Raila. But the danger here is, you see, the Gen Zs are not registering. I know this is not mass voter registration. I wish this guy had prayed for him to be the chairman, but he didn't get it. So I don't know how we'll be.
Maybe it's because of your prayers.
But you remember my prayers.
I know.
You remember?
I know.
So, you see, the Gen Zs are not registering. I do not see much change even if you move to mass voter registration. And the reason for that we all know. Yet it doesn't mean that they have lost interest in their country. Therein lies the danger. They may not have faith in legacy politics controlled by the usual monkeys in the same forest. What did they say? What is different? Monkeys or forest? They have there's no inspiration from the current crop of leaders. The current politics we practice. It doesn't inspire them. It doesn't show them any hope. And yet it is about their future. If they engage with us in the manner they have done in the past 2 years, that is the time people will know the value of Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
That's my only fear. I'm not so much bothered about who will play a better game in 2027 and therefore become the president. That time may not come.
Yes.
It may not come in the manner we imagine it. These guys can be so disruptive. And the absence of Raila will soon become clear.
Yes.
Yeah. If these sort of things were to happen, the sort of things the Gen Zs were doing, that's the time this country will now begin to say, where is Raila Odinga? By the way, I'm not saying supporting Ruto was a good thing. I know people will jump on me, but I'm just saying it is what it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Nyachae, what he has said is actually quite interesting, because there's a reason as to why the president and Raila came together. We have no idea what happened, whether it was a phone call, a letter, an email. But the point is, someone reached out to the other and they formed the broad-based government. So the fact that Raila has passed on, does that leave the president exposed in some way?
I think to a certain extent, I agree with what Prof has said, if I understand him correctly.
Yes.
Which is basically how does not just the president, all the major players,
Yes.
In Kenya today, as we move towards the 2027 election, how do they interpret that question, the role that Jacob was playing in Kenyan politics, and we don't need to know the exact reason why he joined broad-based. We are talking more of the consequences of him having joined it, and then the question is now way forward.
Yes.
So it depends on how not just the president, but the other side, the opposition, how they sell the whole idea of Jacob's participation in the broad-based government, and how that now, because everybody will be speaking or selling the idea of what they think is best for the nation.
Okay.
So it depends on how, and as I said at the very beginning, how they manage that spirit, because the spirit is definitely there.
Yeah.
And the spirit, I think, will have a major effect on going forward. And I am one of those people who think that a lot of the people who criticized his joining the broad-based government,
Yes.
I think were more emotional than rational.
Okay.
Because I've listened to many conversations where people were saying, "Oh, Raila is finished. He betrayed the people of Kenya." No, that in my view that was
That's not what he did.
That's not what he did. But now it's a question of how the people are made to understand. The reason I say that's not what he did, there are huge sections of this country where even before Raila joined broad-based,